Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Truth Unspoken. And as usual, we're going to continue to give out information, truth, exposing lies, giving more data of people that are in this fight, in this war for the soul of America and the souls of our children, and family core values and the family structure, which is being torn apart and attacked regularly, and more laws and more greedy people continue to come up with ways to push this agenda, to which equals getting more children mutilated, more young adults confused, and who are they supposed to be, what they're supposed to be, and what they were born to be, and inserting lies and deceptive information, giving them false hope. And so, in the name of equality and gender identity. And when you're born, your identity is confirmed.
Correct.
And so, it's either male or female. And so, these people that actually know the truth that you cannot transform from one to the other, they know that, but they see a way to make profit, and they can care less about the destruction it's causing in families and in individuals and in homes and in children and in schools and so on and so forth. They don't care about the after effects as long as they get a paycheck for performing administration of medication or surgeries. And so, that's what it is about. So we're here to continue to expose that and expose our governor for allowing this and pushing the agenda in all public schools here in California, and it's happening in many other states as well. So it's not just a California thing, but our governor continues to allow and fund and threaten to cut off funding for schools that will not bow down to this sickness of perversion putting into our children. So we got some videos today with more families in this fight, and lawsuits. More and more lawsuits are starting to take place, which is good. It's sad because it takes up resources and time that most families don't have, but that's why we have our resolution,
Yeah.
which is the stay-at-home inaugural, right? And so that we can let them know this is for a purpose. This purpose is more than, shouting outside of school district meetings and going and giving speeches, which are good, but they're ineffective because who they're being said to, the people that are opening it up for these things to be said are the same people that have voted and put these policies in to have our children lied to, and then to teach our children to lie to us. And so, we've come up with a way that can actually be effective, which is affecting the school's finances and the funding, for the finances. And so, but also letting them know that we are we are saying that our right as parents must be priority, and right now it's non-existent, right? It's is they're saying it doesn't matter that you're the parent, the children belong to us. This is the debate and the fight. If you don't know that, then you're just unaware of what's really taking place. But that is the battle. The battle is them saying our children belong to them, and that they would do as they wish and they would do as they want, and we can do nothing. Because your children have to be in school, so you have to bow down and accept it, or you'll be attacked or fired or taken to court because you don't agree with the policies of mutilization.
Yeah.
So the first video we want to show is a couple that the school was processing and transgendering their daughter without them knowing. And, this is happening. So every time we show a video, every time we give a story, these are just the ones that are getting caught.
Correct.
Right? So these are the parents that have realized this and are coming forth.
Right.
There are other parents that realize this, but they don't know what to do, or they feel that they can do nothing. But that's why we show these videos and we have this channel, to encourage people, to let them know that there are things that you can do, and that is joining forces and joining together in this fight.
Right.
So let's go ahead and play the first video of the two parents with the daughter. And
Dan and Jennifer, appreciate you joining me today. Now, you are involved in a lawsuit against the Rockford Public Schools out in Michigan over pronoun usage surrounding your daughter. Dan, can you tell us a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, while we were working with this school closely to address her academic needs in regards to her autism, it came to our attention that the school was actively deceiving and hiding from us the fact that they were transitioning our daughter from being a girl to a boy, using a boy's name and pronouns. And this came to our attention by paperwork that they had given me, and one of the school employees had inadvertently forgotten to change one of those male names and pronouns.
Jennifer, when you discovered this, and again, you discovered it by accident, it sounds like, what was going through your mind?
At first, I was like, they must have somebody else's child's information in here. This was clearly an error, is my first thought. And so we ended up emailing this specific staff member, asking them if this was an error. And then when we didn't receive a response back from them, which I thought was interesting, we started to kind of dig a little bit more and say, well, why would they not respond to an email over important information like this? So once we found out what was really happening, clearly I was just in shock, disbelief.
And Dan, I imagine at that point, once you found out, you started to dialogue with the school, ask them perhaps not to do what they were doing. What were those conversations like? What happened next?
Well, actually, kind of roll that back as we were trying to decide what our next step would be, because we started putting some things together. We're going, I think might be what's going on. How do we want to handle this with the school? Later that same week, Jennifer found in our daughter's backpack a book that had been given to her by the school counselor, from the school counselor's personal library, that our daughter was kind of hiding from us. And that book contained a story about a homosexual boy and a confused boy, and the homosexual boy trying to kind of coerce the boy into a relationship with him, very explicit. And so when we found that, it was kind of like, all right, we got to pull her immediately. After which then we had a meeting with the school principal, thinking, I wonder if he even knows. Does it, how broadly is this going on in the school? And so as we spoke with him, it came to our attention just quickly that he said to us, look, you have to understand, this is the school policy. We're mandated to do this. The desires of the children outweigh those of the parents, and there's not a whole lot we can do in that regard.
So you might have just saw alarm on my face with that last statement, right? Because that's what this is really about for parents, is parental rights. Kate, I want to come to you on this for a moment, because some people might not be aware of this, but this is the policy in some districts, and we're seeing it in some states, that parents are not notified when a child, and I want to emphasize child, has a request to be, named by another name, the opposite sex. Can you take us through how pervasive is this issue, and why should parents be concerned?
These policies have become very pervasive.
throughout a number of states just across the country. These policies where the school district says that if a student raises confusion about their gender identity, the school should jump into action and change that child's names, their pronouns, and not tell their parents. And then you have situations where they're actively hiding that information from parents, like they were with the Meads. They were actually erasing the male name and male pronouns on documents and replacing it with their daughter's real name and her female pronouns, anything that they were sending home to the parents, to actively deceive them. This violates the Constitution because parents have the right to direct the upbringing and education of their kids. But the reason for that is that kids need their parents to walk alongside them when they're dealing with these kinds of issues. Parents know their kids best. They want what's best for them, and they need to be involved. A school should never hide information from parents.
Yeah, and that brings me back to you, Jennifer, on, and feel free to share as much as you're comfortable. I don't want to push people to share too much, but how did this affect your relationship with your daughter as this was going on, even once you discovered it? What are some of the parameters maybe and barriers that were put up because of it?
That's interesting that you asked that, because I was looking back, just trying to wrap my head around everything and seeing if there's anything that we could have missed. I get upset about it. We have always told our children that no matter what, whether we agree or disagree with them, we love them no matter what, and we will always love them. And if anybody in the world, we are there for them. They can trust us. We are here to speak truth to our children. And I look back and I think that relationship sort of changed for a little while. Mm-hmm. I could sense some turmoil in her. And I knew there was something going on. Her anxiety was through the roof. She was depressed most days. She was missing a lot of school. She didn't want to go to school, or I would get a call in the afternoon that she needed me to come pick her up. So I knew that there was something going on, and we were working with the school counselor very closely to come up with a plan for her. I was sharing personal information about what was going on within our family dynamic as well. And I thought that we were being transparent. Mm-hmm. And so now I will tell you, our daughter, she knows who she is. She is no longer confused. She knows that we love her. She knows that she can always come to us for everything. She is thriving. Her grades are up. She is happy. She's like a different child now. And it's wonderful that we've got her back.
That is wonderful. I know this is hard to talk about because it's so personal. And that brings me to you, Dan, on just the decision to sue over this. A lot of people, they find themselves in these positions and they might say, I don't want to deal with the backlash, because I would assume once you go public, a lot of people support and a lot of people have opinions on the other side of it. What has led you, Dan, to say, no, we want to take action here. We want to right this wrong?
Well, when we left that meeting with the principal, all that I could get through the thought that just kept coming back to me was, what if we just go away quietly and don't do anything, don't say anything? How many other parents have done this before us? And that even doesn't matter. How many are going to come after us? And if I ever had to look at another father or mother who went through this and say, oh yeah, that happened to us too, but we didn't do anything about it, I don't know how I could handle that. And so I just said to Jennifer, I've got to figure out a way to make this right and make it so that they don't keep doing this to other children and other parents, whether it's this specific issue, or what really is our problem is that they lied to us, mm-hmm. that they deceived us about what was going on. So it isn't, this issue, a lot of people want to make it about the very particular, oh, your problem is just with the boy names and the boy pronouns, and you're making a big, a mountain out of a molehill. That just happened to be the catalyst that set us off of saying, you don't get to lie about anything.
Right.
This is what you chose to lie to us about, but you don't get to lie to the parents about anything. You don't get to withhold information, change documents, none of that stuff.
Yeah. Not only lying to you, but also when these sorts of incidents unfold, you're essentially teaching a child that it's okay to lie to their parents. I mean, you're essentially stepping in and saying, not only is it okay to lie, we will help you do it, right? And so I think that element of the story often gets lost in the conversation that, and we've heard the teachers out in California in the Marabelli case talk about that as educators not wanting to be put in a position of having to lie. And I think that's important to discuss here. Kate, when you look at this case, what do you hope to see happen in the end in this particular instance?
We want parental rights to be respected. Just as Dan was talking about, parents need information from the schools about what's going on, and a school should never be lying to parents, changing documents, hiding information, instructing kids to lie to their parents, and driving that kind of a wedge between parents and their kids. On an issue like gender identity, that's a very difficult and challenging issue for kids to work through, and they need their parents. So it highlights the problem in that context, but it goes beyond it. We want to see the court step in and ensure that parents can have transparency from their schools and trust that they're going to get the information they need to uphold their responsibilities to their kids to direct their upbringing and education.
And Kate, what comes next in this case in terms of where it currently stands right now?
The case is very early on. We just filed it right before Christmas, so we're waiting for a response from the district, and then we will be off in the trial court for the rest of the case.
Well, I want to thank all of you for coming on and talking about this. Again, I know it's difficult to talk about. It's tough to go public, but like you were saying, you want to make sure that you can help others who are facing similar things all over the country right now. We will continue to cover this and have you back as the details unfold.
Thank you.
So, another case, another story where teachers in the school are manipulating and behind the backs of the parents transgendering or transforming the child into deception. And like the father said, the key thing is they're lying. And so that is the a great point to bring up in these so-called arguments where like these people have an actual valid reason for doing what they're doing, which there's no validity to it at all. There is no equalness in deceiving children.
Right.
These children don't even know that this exists until someone comes and tells them it exists and then tries to conform them into the deception and the lie and teach them and train them, lie to your parents. Now, these are the adults that we have trusted with our children for 8 hours a day to help them grow, help them to be able to prepare them for life. They're doing the exact opposite, and they're preparing them for kind of a confusing and difficult life. Life is already difficult by itself. We don't need people to help add difficulties to our children's lives. Just growing up in this day and age is difficult. Just the things that they have to face and the things they have to hear about and the things. A lot of this stuff, it didn't exist when we were children.
Yeah.
We had difficulties too, but we didn't have to worry about someone coming every day trying to convince us that, hey, you're a girl. Hey, you're a girl. Do you want to be a girl? Do you feel like a girl? You can talk to us about being a girl, and you don't have to talk to your parents. Like, that's not something that we faced when we went to school, and our children are facing this every day from the kindergarten level, right? Giving them books with pornography, literature, and visuals, and they in the schools. So, in the public school libraries. So, a lot of key things that were good in this video, I feel, for awareness and truth being exposed on how, the first thing they thought was, does the principal know about this? Well, the principal knew about it and is pushing it. because he has yielded because of the state funding.
Yep.
That's what we're getting to the meat of these things. It is the school funding, which is why the policy has to be followed, because they do not want to lose out on the school funding.
Yep.
So they, even if there are teachers that are not in agreement, they do it anyways because they don't want to lose their jobs.
Yep.
And even if they may not agree with it, they're still going to deceive your children because the school policy says they have to, because they need that funding. So that is why we've come up with the stay home inaugural, so that that funding is affected from the parent. We're causing an effect on their funding.
Yep.
So we've asked, we've pleaded, we went before school boards all over America. We did it in our district for 5 years, and not one thing changed by us going there every single time they had a meeting. More and more people came, spoke, shared, expressed, and it just meant nothing to the board members. They continue to push the policy, they continue to do it, and they don't care because they're getting the check. And so there has to be an action that can cause an effect. And they say money makes the world go round, but it doesn't. But the people that live that life and believe that, fortunately, a lot of them are policy makers and places of authority, and are pushing that memo. Money is what rules above all, above righteousness, above good character, above protection of children. Money is above all of that, and that's what these people believe. And in the exposing the like he said, they intentionally deceived us.
Yeah.
That is the key thing. They're intentionally deceiving the parents, or in deceiving the children, and being deceptive through the children to keep it away from the parents. So when you're trying to make sure the parents don't find out, that is a wicked, evil tactic, and it's intentional. And so therefore the whole equal affirmation of gender identity, that all flies out the window when you're deceiving parents so that parents don't have a choice. There's nothing equal than where, if you're fighting for equality, then equality is for everyone.
Yes.
So the true fight for equality means that you're trying to get everyone. That means the parents have an equal share in it as well.
Yeah.
So, but whenever you're isolating one group or many groups, there's no equality involved.
Yep.
Now it's a specific targeted agenda, right? And so that's another family that's in a fight that found out that when they sent their child to school, that the child was being coerced, and they were already writing the name. So they're already putting it in the child's mind every day. Okay, her name could be Katie, but they're saying Bob. So when Katie comes to school, how you doing today, Bob? As soon as Katie walks in the classroom, how was your time at home, Bob? So they keep reaffirming, they keep putting that in. They make the child write, my name is Bob Jones, not Katie Williams. My name is Bob Jones. My name is Bob Jones. And so they keep writing and keep putting that in the child's mind, to then there's a boldness that comes with the child that says, I am Bob. And then starts demanding that the parents, when they get home, call me Bob. I don't identify as Katie. And then now you have this whole mess in the house because an adult or multiple adults is putting this in the child every single day. When they're supposed to be putting education.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be teaching the child how to read and write, mathematician, give them science, history. All those things are what they should be teaching them, not teaching them that you're really a boy and you're really a girl. So anyways, I think we got another video that we want to share with us, which is really sad. They're all sad, but now we have a mother that's on trial for speaking out and saying how she feels. So now that's where we're at in America, to where you can be put on trial for what you say. It's a free expression, not talking about, you're gonna do an attack on the White House, or you're gonna openly kill somebody. No, meaning if I don't agree with you, you can be taken to court. So freedom of speech, we now have it to where in America you can be taken to court and put on trial for speaking and having a disagreement with policy. So let's go ahead and play this mother.
I'm a mom of 5 children, 1 boy, 4 girls, and from ages 24 to 11. The greatest thing I'll ever do is raise my children. That's been my focus, raising my kids, actually being very involved in their education.
Scarlett Johnson is a parent, a taxpayer, and a Wisconsin voter who spoke up and criticized her government. Now she's being sued despite having clear protections by the First Amendment.
I'm sort of an accidental activist. I didn't intend to be an activist for parental rights and for children. I realized that I had to be, and a lot of other parents did as well.
Johnson is now on trial for calling someone woke and other similar comments.
I'm on trial for speaking my mind. I'm on trial because I have a belief that others do not feel comfortable with or they don't like. And our public education system is failing them. And one reason I think that is because we are obsessed with identity politics. We are obsessed with turning classrooms into centers for political correctness and political indoctrination. I'm Puerto Rican. My kid's father is white. So what does that say when my kids go into classrooms and they're told that to be white is evil and to be brown is somehow inherently good, or inherently you are a victim if you're brown, and if you are white, you are a bad person?
The case against Ms. Johnson should have been promptly dismissed and certainly shouldn't be going to trial.
I am pro-teacher, but I am tired of hiring 6-figure administrators that just tell teachers what to do and then tell students what to think.
We have appealed her case because the First Amendment protects every citizen, regardless of their political views.
Without freedom of speech, there's no freedom of thought. We have to be able to think freely, to vote freely, to protest freely, to speak our minds.
Learn more about how Will is defending.
You heard that real clear, right? If we're not free to speak, then we're not free to think. Yep. And that's called dictatorship, and that's called oppression and slavery, where you're punished for thinking a certain way. And it's not a certain way as in it's a detrimental or dangerous way, but a freedom way that I don't want to have my children being taught this. I don't agree with my children being deceived and being taught to lie to me. To where if you think like that, that's now become a place where you can be punished and be facing jail or prison. That's a sad place for America that we've reached. And but I believe it's because we've allowed too many things to go unspoken about. It's just like the previous father said, is I couldn't bear the thought of, this happening to somebody else, and then they're standing up and saying, and I knew, and that same thing happened to me, and I did nothing, and I didn't say anything. And like she said, is I'm an accident activist. Well, it's sad when you have to be an activist as a parent. Now, I think about that. We have to become activists to be parents. So to be a parent of a normal way of how family happens was a man and a woman get married and they have children. Right. And so this whole ideology that you're pushing, it makes those children, why do they even exist? So if you think about it, if they're teaching children you're the opposite of what you really are, then you're saying you're a mistake yourself. Yeah. That's what they're teaching our children. You're a mistake. Because how your parents conceived you and had you is a mistake. Yeah. And me, myself, the person that's telling you this, my parents, I'm a mistake. So that means everyone's a mistake. Wow. Think about it. So the very people that are saying, hey, you might want to be this and you might want to be that, your own parents didn't think like that. No. And you're here to even say that foolish garbage because exact opposite of what you're trying to say. right? It's just common sense. So the teachers that are teaching this and these people, so that's, you know why? Money.
Yep.
It doesn't make sense. It's not rationale. You cannot justify reasoning of doing that other than what is your objective? Your objective is to get a paycheck.
Yep.
Because if your parents did that, you wouldn't even be here to deceive the child. So you're here to deceive a child about confusing them so that you can get a policy put in. You can get a policy completed. You can get a check saying, I did my due diligence, I did my part, now I can get my check. So there's actually some scripture that I wanted to share that talks about this. And, that's why the scriptures are so good, because the scriptures let us know what we're going to face.
Yeah.
And the scriptures talk about pretty much two different type of people.
Yep.
Wicked and evil people and good and righteous people.
Yep.
And everywhere in between, decisions have to be made to say which one you're going to be.
True.
That sums it up. You're either going to be wicked and evil, or you're going to be good and righteous. You're either going to try to protect the innocent, or you're going to try to harm the innocent.
Yeah.
You're on one of you're on one of two sides.
Yep.
It's real simple. People make it complicated. No, it's really simple. If you love children, then there's no way that you can do these things. But if you love money, there's no limit to what you're capable of. And it doesn't matter if you have a degree. We showed all the 500 doctors that go into evil people. And they look nice, they dress nice, they have nice white teeth, they have a great designer clothes on, and they really look professional. But really, those are evil, wicked people that are dressed up nice and have degrees to take and kill children and get paid to do it. And mutilate them and transform them, never to be able to be fixed. Now, we've already proven this. We've already given, if you haven't watched, if you're just now joining, please go back to episode 1, because we've been covering a lot of information and a lot of stats and a lot of testimonials that can't be argued. You can't argue truth. You can disagree with it because you want to be deceived and you want to be lied to, or you believe lies and you believe deception, but truth doesn't change. Truth is there and it can't be changed. It can't be altered. You can't argue it. You can't say it's not, because when it is, it is. So I want to get into some scripture that explains everything that we've been talking about and reveals and exposes the two different type of people and the type of people that these people are, and why parents have to get involved more than just going to school board meetings and protesting outside with signs. That is okay, but that doesn't cause any effect. That doesn't get an effect. It may get news attention or media attention, and then, maybe some other people find out about these people that are over there in this city fighting. But what happens? Do the schools change the policy? The only way that something's been happening is if parents go and do lawsuits, which costs money, which costs time, which costs resources. And so, a lot of parents don't have that. So God bless the ones that are going through, and some don't have it and they still do it and, have come out victorious. Thank God. Amen. But a lot of people can't do that. A lot of average parents that are working every day, trying to survive, trying to take care of their children, trying to be good parents, they can't do that. So that's why we have the stay-at-home inaugural, right? Yeah. So here's the scripture. In Proverbs 1, it's several scriptures, but it starts in 10. And it says, my son, if sinners entice you, do not consent, right? So this is the people that are these teachers and these people that say, like the principal said, hey, I'm sorry, but that's just the policy.
Right.
Those type of people, they have to pay attention to this. Where it says, do not let, if sinners entice you, do not consent. That means if they come to you saying, hey, if you obey this, you will get your paycheck or you will get extra money, but if you don't, you'll get fired. Well, there's a lot of teachers that have to make that decision and be willing to lose their jobs. And I'm not saying that's easy, but what I'm saying is we've already showed another video of a teacher that did that, and she did a lawsuit and she won.
Yeah.
So if you do stand for righteousness, good will come to you.
Right.
But if you fold and you compromise for the souls of children to get a paycheck, then there's no good coming to you. And the Bible warns you and says, don't do that. So if they entice you with money, because that's what they're doing, they're enticing with money. If they entice you with money, the scriptures are saying, do not consent with them. If they say, 11, if they say, come with us, let us lie in wait to shed blood. Let us ambush the innocent without cause and show them his piety is in vain. That is what they are doing. They are saying we can influence these babies, we can influence these young adults. Let's get them to believe that they can be something that they're not, and that we can transform them and make them into something, and then show them they don't have to tell their parents because we're protecting them. That's exactly what this is saying.
Exactly.
And so the innocent are the children. And also there's innocent parents that are putting their children with these teachers with faith in believing that these teachers have the best interests of our children. Now, a few episodes ago, we showed the teacher that had took down the American flag in America in an American classroom, took down the American flag and put up the gay pride flag, which is not a gay pride flag. The rainbow comes from the Bible, just in case anyone doesn't know. And maybe we'll do that on the next episode. I'll break down what the rainbow actually means and what they've turned it into. But the point is they, when she said, I'll give you a flag to pledge allegiance to, not the American flag because you're an American and you live in America, not that flag, but I'll give you another flag that which you can pledge your allegiance to, which is wickedness and bloodshed for money. Which is deceive people for money. Give them false hope. When you tell a boy that you're going to make him into a beautiful woman, you've given him false hope and you've lied to him. And that's what we've given many. That's what Chloe was saying. We had the young man with Candace Owens. That's what he was told. They're always told you can have a beautiful opposite sex of what you have right now or a dead sex of what they are right now. That's the options they continue to give. So these are these people, which the scriptures are saying, do not consent with them. And this is what they do. Right? They ambush the innocent without cause. They're ambushing our children who are innocent. Without cause. Why? Why would you do that? There's no meaning there's no legit reason why you can deceive and ambush a child. And then try to do all of your power to influence that child to go away from their parents. Where can you give a justifying cause for those actions? There's no justified cause to deceive and lie. Nothing. Okay, now. And it says, let us swallow them up alive. This is what these evil people say. Let us swallow them up alive as does Sheol, the place of the dead, and whole, and those who go down into the pit of the dead. Let us swallow them up as does death does, and the place of death. So that's what they're saying. Because guess what? Don't forget now, you know how that matches to go, are you serious about dying? Yeah, because look at the stats of the suicide. The suicide rate. 65% of children and young adults that go down this path. They either commit suicide, they attempt suicide, or they're contemplating. You heard what the mother said. She said when this was going on, her daughter was very depressed and was having, issues and all these things that were taking place once these teachers started doing this. And now that they removed the child, guess what? She knows that she's a girl and she's thriving. Her grades are up and she knows who she is. She's got her confidence back. Yeah, because she knows that's what happens when someone knows who they are and they're confident in who they are. You don't have things. You don't have thoughts about killing yourself and depression all the time. No. But notice as soon as they implant those seeds, those are the things that come with it. Depression, second guessing, doubting who you are, unsure, insecurities, all those things come with this program. And so it says, verse 13, we shall find and take all kinds of precious goods when our victims are put out of the way. So once those young adults go and get that surgery, guess what? They got their precious goods. And they've got them out the way and they're on to the next, because guess what? Now they know that child or that young adult has to continue to come to them for medications, has to come for medications to boost their immune systems, because they have forever wounds that will not close. And their insides, we gave about the what they call the puberty blockers. And what they're causing, the cancerous things that they're causing, and all the infections. There was even hair growing on the inside of their organs. I mean, just all kind of painful things that's come from these puberty blockers, and women taking testosterone. All these things are having nothing. There's no positive effects about any of this anywhere. Nope. And Chloe was going to the Congress saying, please stop funding this. Stop lying to these children. Please stop targeting the children. That's from someone that's already accepted this ideology and attempted it and then regretted it because reality set in. So this deceptive ideology of that you can be whatever you are, you can transform into the next sex, and you're going to be happy, you're going to be secure. That's all a deception and a lie. And so someone who already went down that road and bought into that ideology of deception is now have a life of pain and is asking our government, which this should never have to happen. There should never have to be someone who's been chopped up and mutilated going before the Congress asking to stop targeting children and lying to parents and lying to children. Okay? Now it says we shall fill our houses with plunder. So that's all these doctors are thinking about. That list of over 500 doctors that are into the mutilation and chopping up. And this is criminal. Doing this to these young people and lying to these parents. So why? So that they can have planes, so that they can ride in S500 Mercedes, and they can have yachts, and they can have big bank accounts, so they can fill their house with plunder. They're plundering the innocent. It's not like they're going to war and fighting someone who's able to defend themselves. No, they're targeting and plundering innocent so that they can have their houses filled with precious goods because they've sold their soul for money. And it says, throw in your lot with us. They insist. And be a sworn brother and comrade. Let us all have one person common. Now, this is what they're doing in these school districts. Saying, you join with us. Be a comrade, be a brother with us in this ambushing of the innocent, in this plundering innocent families and taking their precious goods. Our children are our precious goods. And that's their goal. Take our precious goods and mutilate them so that they can fill their houses with plunder. At 15, it says, my son, do not walk in the way with them. Restrain your foot from their path. So these type of people we should never be in communication with. We should never be trying to befriend them. We don't care about their policy. We shouldn't be in agreement. We shouldn't be saying, hey, if this is the policy, like the principal said, this is for that principal, you need to read this.
Yeah.
Every principle that they're saying this is the policy that you must apply, you need to read this. And this is what we need to be teaching our children and exposing these people to our children. We need to be telling our children, hey, if any teacher tells you to lie to me, you walk away from them and say you don't want to talk to them anymore.
Absolutely.
That's what we have to start doing. We have to start arming our children until we get them out of the public school system.
Right.
But most of the time, we have to do what these parents did. They said they snatched her out immediately. Why?
Yeah,
so what did they do? They preserved their child.
Smart.
Before it got down the road of Chloe.
Yep.
Before it got down the road of other victims. Right? Okay. So these scriptures are here to help us understand what type of people are here, what we have to deal with, and how we deal with them. And that there are two types of people. It says, for their feet, verse 16, for their feet run to evil, and they make haste to shed blood. If you don't hurry up and do this now, you're going to have a dead daughter instead of a happy son.
Yep.
Hurry up. Your child needs this.
Yep.
Get them to the psychologist immediately. We must administer meds to this child immediately. It's a hasteness. It's a hurry up to... You need to get, listen, we already showed all these things that I talk about on every other episode is already confirmed. Is they have it to where they already have it approved. When they get the child deceived, when they get them in there and they're talking to them and then they convince them, it takes the insurance company 30 minutes to approve the surgery. Let's get to shedding that blood innocent right now, quick. So the insurance companies are involved. This is them as well. Remember, it's always someone wearing a nice suit, looks nice, looks proper, looks professional, has all the degrees. Those are the people that these scriptures are talking about. The policy makers and the policy enforcers, which is the evil and wicked doers, innocent, rush to have innocent blood. It says, verse 17, for vain is the net spread in the sight of any bird. But when these men set a trap for others, they are lying in wait for their own blood.
Yep.
So these people, they have something coming to them. And a lot of times it already has happened, but the blood that they're trying to take, it's coming upon them their own selves. Right? It says they are lying in wait for their own blood. They set an ambush for their own lives. That's why the righteous have to not have consent with them and walk away and said, I cannot be a part of this. Right. Just like the teacher in Jerupa Valley had to do. She had to say, I cannot consent with this. Because she knows these scriptures. Right. God bless you. She knows these scriptures, so she knows I can't be a part of that. And so she obeyed these scriptures, and that's why she won the lawsuit.
Yep.
And that's why it looked like she was going to lose everything. Her and her family were going to lose everything, but they didn't. They were saved. And it says, so are the ways of everyone who is greedy of gain. So all the verses read before is summed up to this. These are the ways of everyone who is greedy for gain. Meaning, it doesn't matter how they look, it doesn't matter how educated they are, it doesn't matter if they are greedy for gain, then they are they are in agreement with from verse 10 all the way down. It says, such greed for plunder takes away the lives of its own of its possessors. So that exactly what they're trying to do, it will happen for them, and they bring it onto themselves. So I pray that you were encouraged. I pray that you were informed.
Yeah.
We pray that people get more involved.
Yeah.
We pray that people please donate so that we can purchase land to create academies and create private schools and charter schools. That is our goal, and to get them to know that our children belong to us and not them.
Yes.
That is the bottom line. So be blessed. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week on another episode of The Truth Unspoken.